Hi y'all, it's your native Flor-xan, and today we're talking venison and quail fricassee. So hang in there and let's get into it. So I got the Dutch oven coming up a temp, and if you've been watching the channel, you've seen a couple weeks ago I made some beef tallow. We're gonna use some of this in there to get us started. Browning down, we got some smoked venison sausage. Gonna start on it first, get it cooked. It's probably 3 tablespoons of that tallow. And then we're going to get to cooking our quail. Now our quail was cut up and skinned when we got it, so I've just taken and sprayed a little bit of avocado oil on it, and I'm using some of the grill your ass off Claymore Cajun seasoning. I've already seasoned one side, I'll season this side with it, and once our sausage is done, then we'll put it in there and start browning it down. And that tallow smells good. I'll go in, this is probably half a pound of that sausage, and again we're just gonna brown it down on both sides and then take it back out. And I'm gonna get my apron on. I got my apron on. Sausage is just about browned down to how we want it. We're gonna pull it out and then place that quail in here and start browning it down. So this sausage was some venison sausage that my buddy Virgil gifted to the channel. Want to thank him again for that, because we fixing to make us a fine meal with this. Okay, so I seasoned the other side of this quail, and I'm gonna start placing it in here. We're gonna start browning this down. Now you can do this with chicken, pork, any other kind of protein you might want to use. Since I hadn't had quail in a while and Virgil gifted this to us, I decided we're going to use it to make this. So we got our quail going here. I just want to mention I've got this fire turned way down because we want that quail to cook through, but we do want it to build a little bit of a foam, but we don't want it burnt on the bottom. So I've turned the heat way down. We're just going to let this sit here and cook with the lid on it for a little bit. All right, there we go. So it's been cooking about 5 minutes. We're gonna flip these over in here. Probably a little too much for the pot, but that's okay. I'll cover it up for about another 5 minutes. All right, these have been going almost 5 minutes. Now I'm gonna take that lid off of there. Just kind of move them around, let some of that moisture from having the lid on it cook out. And then we'll let these dudes start browning down real good. As you can see, we're starting to build a little bit of fond on the bottom of this pot. That's what we want. We don't want to lose none of that flavor. All right, look at that quail right there. I think we got it browned down good. We're just going to pull that out for right now. See how that meat done drawed up on a lot of that bone. Got all that beautiful fond down in the bottom of it. Lower my heat down a little bit. And so we're gonna make us a roux, and if you've watched me do that before, then you've seen me do it, but I'm gonna add in a good hunk of that beef tallow, let it get melted down, because essentially a roux is equal parts fat and flour, and we're gonna need to add just a little more fat into this one. Okay, so I'm thinking I got roughly about a cup of grease or beef tallow in there. I'm going to add a cup of flour. Take my new roux paddle I got and just kind of mix that around and get this roux started. And we'll get to pulling some of that fond off the bottom. If we see we need a little more grease, then we'll add a little more grease to it. So we got it all mixed in good. We're going to let it sit here. Now we're not going to constantly stir it. That's where a lot of people, oh, roux takes too long to make. That's because you're constantly stirring it. You gotta kind of let it sit for a little bit and then come by and give it a nice little stir and then let it set for a little bit. Yeah, you don't want to forget about it and let it set and burn up, but if you're sitting there constantly stirring it, yeah, it's going to take a long time to make it. Now if you don't want to take the time to make a roux, a jar roux will work just fine. It's just on the order of how you use it. You're going to wait until your vegetables are done. You get your stock poured in there like you're fixing to see us do. and then you want to add your roux. So we've been going, I don't know, 5-8 minutes now on our roux here. Now all them bits in there is not burnt roux. That is just the bits coming off the bottom of the pan. We're going to keep going on this. We're looking for about a brick colored roux. And then once we got that, then we're going to go in with our Trinity. All right, here we go. We're down to a good chocolate colored. I know I said brick earlier, but I think I'm good with this right here on this roux. So we're going to go ahead and start adding our Trinity in there. Now I went the easy route. I got them already cut up. I'm just going to chunk them off in there. This is bell pepper, celery, onion, and a little bit of parsley that the grocery store sells as a Cajun mix. Gonna let these soften up a bit. Then we're gonna start adding in some stock. Ooh, you can smell them vegetables cooking. Smelling good, smelling good. So our vegetables have softened up. We're gonna add a whole quart of some low sodium chicken broth. And then I'm still running on a low heat. So I'm gonna up that heat up a little bit and try to get this up to a nice simmer. We got our heat turned up. Just gonna sit here and get that roux all incorporated. Take a look at it. If it looks a little heavy, we'll add a little more stock. But I think we're gonna be all right. Take your paddle, get all that roux and fond off the side of your pot. You don't want to miss none of that flavor. Alright, so we're starting to get us a good simmer going. I went ahead and took our quail and went ahead and deboned it. Now it would be probably a little easier to cook them in the pot, let it all soften up and then take it out and then debone it, but since I was waiting on roux and stuff, I went ahead and deboned it. Now you can serve it with them on the bones. It just happens to be that I know who I'm sharing this meal with, and if they get a bone, they're done. So went ahead and deboned it. We're gonna put them off into the pot here. Add our sausage we cooked earlier. Give that a stir. Now we're gonna let this sit and simmer for a good little bit. But I wanna go ahead and just kinda taste where we're at there. So I'm gonna go ahead and add, this is some chopped garlic, a couple of tablespoons of that. Then I'm gonna hit it again with some of our Cajun seasoning. Give this a stir. We'll let it run for a little bit. Now I did, before I forget to tell you, I did add about another cup of water to this. It was getting a little too thick, so I wanted to go ahead and thin it down a little more, but we got us a good roux going here. So we'll let this simmer and then we'll see how she comes out. I want to mention that when we put the chicken broth in and got it up to a simmer, you jar roux people, that was the time that you wanted to add in your jar roux. So I'm gonna turn that down to a low flame, let it up and let it sit here and run. Just come by every now and then and give her a stir. Make sure we ain't got nothing sticking to the bottom of the pot, because that would be bad. So we just giving this a stir, checking it out. If yours starts getting a little too thick, you can add some more water to it. But what I'm really looking for is to see how tender that quail is. I'm gonna grab me a piece of this quail here and just see how tender it is. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Alright, so we just shut this off. Last thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add some fresh green onion, some parsley. I'm gonna mix that in. Got plenty of heat in here in case you're wondering about that. But we're gonna get this mixed in, get some rice, try this dude out. Alright, I got some fresh from the bag rice. I'm just gonna grab a good ladle of that and throw it on there. That sausage, that green onion. Let's give this dude a taste. Grab me some of this quail meat, some of that sausage. Can't forget that green onion, gotta have that green onion. Let's try this dude out. That's good right there. Seasoning just perfect. Even though we're using the Cajun seasoning, you know, it's not real spicy, which, you know, Cajun food is typically not spicy. It's just full of flavor. Y'all gonna have to wait. I gotta get me another bite of this. I'm gonna be keeping this fat boy fat tonight. But hey folks, another recipe to try. You know, we were lucky, and a buddy of mine gave me that quail and that deer sausage, and we made us a heck of a meal out of it. So don't be scared to try new things. Don't be scared to make a roux. But if you want, jar roux will work just fine. You can do this recipe with rabbit, chicken, pork, whatever it is that you want to cook. This same recipe will work with you, so I hope you try it out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.